What if Deku had Hit's time skip power, part 1? So I told you guys I'd be doing this, and I pretty much have a good idea for next week, which I think I might do either a half and half quirk, or I might either do a half and half quirk for Deku, or if he had like Bill Cipher's powers from Gravity Falls. So to start off, Deku was born like any normal child, except like people saw him just as like very, very fast. Like he couldn't like just like people saw him like he just disappears and then reappears. Like out of nowhere basically. So like people don't really like people just think that he has a speed quirk, right? Well, when Deku is 4 and he goes to the doctor's office, he says, "Well, I don't know what this kid, but you're quirkless." And like all of a sudden, like Deku just disappears, and he reappears right on the doctor's shoulders. Like, huh? I am. It's pretty cool. Didn't know I could do this though. As he reappears and like punches him. And that just, like, his punch was so powerful, it sent him into a wall. And what I'm going to say is, like, I think Hit had, like, a 3-second time skip. But I think Deku is just going to flat out just have a 1-second time skip until he starts training. And I'm also going to give Deku ki control. Like, not, like, he's not going to have super attacks. Or, like, he's going to have some sort of attack for ki, but he's just not, he's not going to really have a super Kamehameha, basically. Like what I might have done in What If Deku was a Legendary Super Saiyan. So, Deku goes to school the next day, and like everyone's like, "Hey, what's your quirk? It's something with speed, right?" He's like, "Oh." And Deku's just like, "Oh yeah, the doctor told me I don't have one." Funny, right? As he just reappears and appears behind them. Just like, I can still do this though. I think it's like a time skip. I can move so fast you guys can't even see. But I can only do it for a second. And they're just like, what? Time skip? And then Bakugo's like, "Hey, you're just a Deku." And Deku, or Izuku, is just like, what? Oh, you think I'm useless? Good for you. Like, I'm going to say he's more laid back, basically. Like, he's serious, but also kind of laid back, so it's like a mixture of Goku's personality, but also with Hits. And he was just like, oh, good for you. I didn't know you thought I was a Deku. And I didn't know you want to die. As he reappears and as he disappears and reappears right in front of him, and he punches him. So, from that day forth, Deku was just like, stupid Bakugo. I'm going to become stronger than he'll ever be. And from that day forth, he just went full out, just training as hard as he can. And I'm going to say when he was 7, 3 years after that day, he discovered how to use ki. And since he discovered how to use ki, he was like, I think this is pretty powerful too. I'll also incorporate this in my training. And he just basically kept training. Like, you can imagine Saitama's training, but on a whole nother level. Like 1,000 push-ups a day, 1,000 sit-ups a day, and 1,000 squats a day. And then he would do just a lot of running. I can't really imagine anything. And, like, he was already strong, but the time skip ability basically made him so much stronger. And Deku also practiced doing the time skip ability consecutively, which also boosted it up to, I'd say, it boosted it up to maybe around 3 seconds. Like, his time skip ability is going to be so much more OP than Hit. As Hit, Like, I'm not really sure, but I think Hit, like, never really trained that much in DBZ Super. And after that tournament of Beerus and Choppa, where he actually trained for, what was it, like 3 months or something, or like 6 months or a year, and he already boosted it up. And imagine Deku just doing that. So he's already at 3 seconds, which is, I think, either hits or better than hits. So Deku just kept doing that. And then once he's 10, he asked his mom to take him over to the beach. He asked his mom to take him over to the beach at 4 a.m. on his 10th birthday. She was like, why? He's like, oh, you'll see. She takes him to the beach at 4 a.m. And she's like, but it's just a bunch of trash. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm going to train here from 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. All right, you can leave now. I'm going to start. So he basically just starts, like, picking up tires and stuff. And I'm going to say he can pick up cars pretty easily. Like, he can just lift it up like Superman, just, like, lifting it up with, he can, like, twirl it on one finger. But he doesn't do that because he doesn't like showing off. I'd say he's kind of like Todoroki, but he doesn't get, like, super weird, like, I'm going to beat you no matter what, or something. I don't really know how to explain it. So, now we're in your 14th year at middle school or whatever, and the guy was like, okay, guys, I don't know, you all want to become heroes, right? And he just throws the papers up in the air. And everyone's like, yeah, they're all like cheering. And then Bakugo's like, hey, Teach, don't lump me in with a bunch of these losers. And then the teacher's just like, oh yeah, Bakugo, didn't you want to go to UA? And he's like, yeah, and I'm going to be the only one out of this useless school to UA. And Deku's like, I wouldn't be so sure, Bakugo, because I'm clearly going to make it and have a higher score than you. As he, like, cracks his knuckles. And Bakugo's just like, oh, yeah? And Deku's like, oh, yeah, let's do. You want to go? Come on, let's go. So basically they go, once school's over, the bell rings. They go outside, and they're fighting. Like, all the kids in the class just, like, are there, and they're like, oh, this is going to be good. Like, everyone knew how strong Deku was. And since he basically never missed his target, like, whenever he disappeared, he'd always hit somebody before, like, he'd always hit somebody, then go right back to where he disappeared from. They'd always say, they gave him the nickname Hit. So, during the fight, Bakugo just kept shooting explosions at Deku, and I'm not really sure how Hit did it, but I think he just kept disappearing. So Deku just kept disappearing, and then once he got behind Bakugo and put him into a headlock and just put him there, and then he punched him right in the stomach from behind, knocking the wind out of him. That's when he put his hands together, knocking him down, and then put a ki blast up to his head and just put it there. It wasn't a very strong one, but it still knocked him out. So after that, like, nobody was so after that, everyone was like, Deku or Hit is gonna make it to UA no matter what. He can beat the crap out of Bakugo. He can probably beat the crap out of anything that UA throws at him. And so Deku is now heading to the UA entrance exam. He spent the last 10 months training his butt off to get his time skip ability to 5 seconds, as he thought 5 seconds would be a perfect match for the UA entrance exam. So I hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys do enjoy the new series. So yeah, guys, Bye.